Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's match day 37, our last home game of the season as West Ham United take on Southampton. Gonzo, let's start with yourself. As always, what's your thoughts on the Saints?
Well, they got themselves into a bit of a pickle, didn't they? Employed old David Hasselhoff, or whatever his name is, and I think they probably thought they were going to be a little bit more comfortable than they have been, but they've following, I think, the swashbuckling performance against Bournemouth, the 3-3, wasn't it? He's got enough of a tune out of them to keep them safe, but it hasn't been. I don't think it was the start of their metamorphosis that they really wanted. I think they've got plenty of work to do next summer because the team, if as it stays, he spoke about wanting to do a big spend up. He'll have to do a big spend up because I don't think the squad will do anything other than struggle again next season. But he did his remit. He's done a fair job there.
Well, thanks to Wimbledon putting us out in January, our most special game of the season, if you like, apart from Spurs away, is the last home game of the season. So we decided to get our favourite guest on for this one, Kriss Akabusi. Kriss, thank you very much for joining us. How are you tonight?
Geo, fantastic. Always good to be with you guys. Love seeing your work, seeing you guys, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place, hanging out in the boats. You're fantastic fellas, so I'm pleased to be with you.
Cheers, Kriss. And what's your thoughts on Southampton as well?
So, Southampton sort of remind me a little bit like us. A team that sort of is flattered to deceive, has had some desires to get up the table, but then sells their best players, finds themselves tumbling down the table. Then they do sort of like fire safety and do everything, trying to stay in. And then, they will then try very hard to get back in, buy a few players, a couple of has-beens, and then crawl back up into mid-table obscurity. We try to do it a little bit different and go into the top third. As you've seen, it's not happened for us just yet. And so I think Southampton are probably 2 or 3 seasons behind us on that up and down cycle, with just trying to stay between 8th and 15th and not go down.
Kriss, they were sort of struggling under Mark Hughes earlier in the season. Then they brought in Hassan Hüttl. Have you been impressed by what he's done since he's come in?
Well, I think he's been very, very clever. I mean, he's tried very hard to shut up shop. I think he's done what a lot of teams in a bottom half tend to do, which is try to make themselves hard to beat, try to be very, very defensive and hit people on the counter attack. I don't think the Irish guy. That little Irish guy that he used to play. Yeah. Sean Long. I don't think he's been firing that much this season. And then Charlie Austin, I think he's been injured a lot of the season. So it's really difficult if you haven't got your main strike force either performing or on the pitch. It's very, very difficult, as we've seen with Andy Carroll being out the picture.
Gonzo, they've sort of just survived this season, if you like. They already sort of secured safety over the last week or so, sort of match day 34, 35, if you like. Is that enough if you're a Southampton fan, or do you think it's been a bit of a disappointing season?
I think it's been a disappointing week if you're a Southampton fan. You look at the Champions League teams, you look at Tadic for Ajax, you look at Van Dijk, you look at Sadio Mane, you look at Lovren on the bench. Are there any more? There might even be other Southampton players involved at the top end of the Premier League and the European game. And I think you just look and wonder what could have been if they'd have kept all of these, because they've had so much talent going through there, and it just must be thoroughly depressing for them, watching them leave time and time again. And a lot of money has been made at that club. It certainly hasn't all been reinvested at all, so someone's taken a lot of money out of it. I would imagine, bearing in mind the number of players sold, Geo, they probably are just happy to be where they are. Looking at some of the clubs that are lower down and have been relegated and are struggling to get back up, I bet they're happy at the moment just to be in the Premier League,
Yeah, I think they did the right thing getting rid of Hughes. I've never really liked Mark Hughes, but he was dragging them down, basically. He's strangling them completely. Ward-Prowse is sort of banished to the sidelines under Mark Hughes. If you like a lovely ball-playing footballer, if you like reasonably young, and Mark Hughes sort of just dismissed him and tried to get the bruisers in and thought, you know what, we'll just bully our way to safety. And it wasn't working. So they did the gamble. We spoke about it before, Gonzo. I was just pleased to see Southampton stay away from the old British manager thing. Go, you know what? We're going to go foreign. We're going to get someone in. It's a little bit risky, but he's going to get us to safety, playing decent enough football as well. They've survived, but they're not doing it like Brighton are. Brighton are doing it by sort of trying to draw 0-0 almost, or win a game 1-0. Southampton are playing a little bit of flair, a little bit of creativity in their team. He's got his own stamp, his 3-5-2 formation that he's been playing, or his sort of like 3-4-3 almost. It's interesting. It's different. Not many teams play like that in the Premier League. It's slightly different to the way Wolves play, but it's working for them with the personnel they've got. And they've impressed me, Southampton. He's impressed me. And if he can get his big spend, I would be watching very closely who Southampton go for in the transfer market, because he's come from Germany, and that's where the good players are. That's where you get a lot of bang for your buck. You need to go to the Bundesliga. And if Hasenhüttl knows of the players, they're one to watch this summer. Kriss, who would you consider to be the danger players for Southampton, or the players you might admire from as a West Ham fan?
Yeah, I was just going to say before that, for Southampton, the most important thing is that they're higher than Pompey. So, I know the Saints fan, when you start talking about their club, that they're higher than Pompey. And also that, they sold a lot of young players. Walcott comes to mind. Chambers comes to mind. That left back that went to Man United, that had some serious injuries, he comes to mind. So, they have been a real selling club, very much like we were 12, 15 years ago. They made a lot of money. Southampton is a business. It's run like a business. They sell their assets. As long as they stay in the Premier League, they're happy. Right. The question, to be fair, Gio, I don't know Southampton well enough to say who their danger players are. As I said, if Shane Long and Charlie Austin are playing, I know Charlie Austin, for example, has a vendetta against us, but actually, in the last couple of years, doesn't seem to be able to make it onto the pitch. But when he does, he's always going to knock one in because of what our chairman said about him and his ligaments or whatever it was. So, to be fair, you know what, Gio? I think that Southampton are going to have that. We've just hung on bounce, and we're now going to be on the beach. I don't think they're going to be a problem on Saturday. I really don't. I think that they're going to come to our manor. They've made it. They're not going down now. And all of that pent-up frustration and worry they've had the last few weeks, and all that fighting and scrapping, I think the bubble will go bzzz, and it should be pretty easy for West Ham.
Gonzo, Kriss is mentioning Shane Long and Charlie Austin there. He's not mentioning Danny Ings. I'm a bit upset, to be honest.
Well, of course you are, and you'll take it. You'll take it personally. But Kriss is look, Kriss is a professional sportsman. He knows a quality operator when he sees them. And if Kriss thinks that Charlie Austin, even with his knobbly, dodgy knees, is better than Danny Ings, then far be it from you to argue, mate. I'll tell you something though, right? Nathan Redmond is a quality player who I think could perform higher up there. And just listen to Kriss reading off the list of players I mentioned to you earlier. I think you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, or I forgot earlier. Gareth Bale as well. Honestly, you could make a wonderful team of Southampton players. Danny Ings wouldn't be in it either, Gio, I'm afraid. But the one player that I think if they were to sell another one, I'm not looking to offload any more of their players, it would be Nathan Redmond. But I think Bertrand is also a good player. And Højbjerg in the middle. Is that his name, Højbjerg?
Yeah.
He can play a pass. But Redmond is the star performer.
Sneijderlin's another one.
Yeah, I think Højbjerg's a fantastic player for them. Really, really impresses me. The other player, the one player I would like to see at West Ham is their right back, Valerie. I think he's 19. Fantastic right back. He's sort of come through the season. Whenever I watch Southampton, he really impresses me. He gets down that line. He's really quick, attacking. He's defensively pretty sound as well. And Valerie's always impressed me. And Ward-Prowse is a player I've always admired. I've always liked a player that can play football, and he can do that. And he's dangerous from his set pieces as well. And Hasenhüttl sort of made him one of his main players. Doesn't take a genius, does it? Someone that can play the ball. You know what? Let's just give him the ball. It's nothing. He's not coming with something different to every other manager in the Premier League. He's just done the obvious thing, and it's working. And good on them as well. But they've got a couple of injury worries, Southampton, this weekend. Vestergaard and Yoshida are out. So that's two of their main centre-backs. So he's maybe going to have to change his formation for this one, which would suit Southampton. But moving on to West Ham. But before we do, our boats are running for the last time this season. You can get your tickets. The link is in the description. We're open before the game. we're open after with an additional hour because it's the end of the season, so we tend to go into party mode. If you don't believe us, check out the review from last season when we played Everton, where there was more Jaeger bombs than talking. The analysis of the match was more of an analysis of what we were drinking, and it was a bit of a mess. But that's going to be a repeat on Saturday, so don't get your hopes up for a good review of the match. But before we talk about the West Ham 11, Kriss, because there's not really much to talk about in terms of team choice, I don't think. I think it's quite obvious. But Kriss, what's your thoughts on Pellegrini and how this season's gone so far for West Ham?
You know what, Geo? I'm really happy you got me after the Spurs game, where we covered us up in some sort of glory. Because actually, really, I tell you what, actually, I had a little bit of interaction with you. I looked at the league table about 10 days ago and realised we'd seriously underperformed. You know, when you think about all the promises and all the endeavour that we supposed to have, we were actually going to be struggling to get out of the bottom six, let alone get into the top six. And I thought, how can that be? The board spent 100 million quid. We've got this brand spanking new stadium. We've chucked Bilic onto a bus. How can we be struggling? And I really put it down to the players. And I know people are saying, yeah, but look, you know, we had dodgy offsides against Liverpool and Man United on the goals offside and all that sort of stuff. But still, in the end, it's the same referees who look after the whole Premier League. And in the end, over the season, you are where you are because you just ain't been good enough. And I was really, really dejected. And I've really put it down to the players really not putting in. And I went back to the AFC Wimbledon, where AFC Wimbledon rolled up their sleeves and said, you know what? I don't think West Ham are up for the fight. And they bullied us and they bashed us around and they harried us and they didn't let us kick the ball and they fought us some more. And then when we got tired, boom, they scored their goals. And so I was on a downer. I was really on a downer. I think what we showed against Spurs was the reverse. We put the work in. They had one eyeball on Tuesday. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. And we managed to do to them what other people have done to us, harry, fight, and it shows we can do it. So I'm really thinking to us, West Ham, we've got to really wake up, and the players have really got to wake up. Pellegrini, you know, I think he thought we tried to play the Man City way with West Ham players, and maybe he'll get a few Man City type players next year, and we can look forward to a top half finish. I'll tell you what, I'm not too excited to say top 6, top 7. If we could be comfortable in the top 10, that will be a start.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that, Kriss. Gonzo, it's time to talk about the West Ham 11, but we beat Spurs 1-0 last week. Everybody sort of did well. Is it just name the same 11? Well, before we do that, actually, I should tell you the team news in case you don't know, or for the viewers that don't know. Team news is everybody's available except Andy Carroll and Yarmolenko, according to Pellegrini. So Carlos Sanchez, Winston Reid are obviously back in training. Whether a match fit is unlikely, but they're back in training there. Nasri, Lanzini, Hernandez, Creswell, they're all back. Pellegrini has a lot of options this week. In the 1 week he's got lots of options, there's nobody to drop out the team, Gonzo.
Yeah, and it's typical West Ham that everybody is fit when the season has ended, of course. We could have done with a bit of that in the middle of the season. But no, you're right. There's nothing to discuss in terms of who would replace.
I think there is. I think there's one player. I think there's one change to be made.
Oh, well. Really?
Yes.
So you want to change? You want to change right back?
I want to change something.
Well, go on then. I'm keeping it the same. Who do you want to change?
Kriss, what about yourself? Would you make any changes, or would you name the exact same 11 that played against Spurs?
Well, what I liked about the Spurs team is that we had Antonio up front. I like that. Did you see when we played? I think it was Man United, where Shearer said that Arnautovic wasn't making centre forward runs, and Antonio makes centre forward runs. I hadn't thought of playing Arnautovic on the right wing or whatever you call wing back, whatever you like to call it. But to be fair, I'll give the boys a chance. You know, they showed that they can do it. So I'll keep the same team.
Kriss, would you? Gonzo thinks I would change the right back. Would you hazard take a punt? Put on your Akabusi if you want. Take a punt.
Yeah. I don't get it, mate. Geo, I don't get it, son. I don't get it.
Would you like to take a punt at what player I would like to see change for Saturday?
Yeah, I know you, Geo. You'd love to see Obiang in there, wouldn't you?
No, not. I'll tell you who I want to see. I would play Adrian. Honestly, it's his last home game. He's going in the summer. We've nothing to play for. Fabianski, Hammer of the Year. Here's your reward. But I would put Adrian in goal just to say, listen, we can't all preach about loyalty in this day and age. And the guy is stuck with us. Even when he's sort of been in and out of the team, he's still here. Him and Randolph wanted out the door. Randolph got the move away. He sort of had to stay. And he's always done. He's a bit of a cult hero at West Ham for me. He's always got it. He gets West Ham, and I just think we should give him a send off. And I would put him in goal against Southampton, just so that when someone takes a shot straight down the middle, a weak shot won't be Danny Ings. He doesn't do them. So when someone takes a weak shot down the middle of the goal, he can do his palm it over the bar in 3 rows and stand up and do his big clapping and shout at everyone when actually you could have just caught the ball. What you do the over-exaggerant thing? Gonzo, what are you shaking your head no at?
Oh, listen, you're a sentimental old bugger. You really are. But listen, we are 11th at the moment, and we have a serious opportunity of finishing 11th. So I think we should, because we can't catch 10th. But yeah, I don't know. I'm only joking. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, does it? But as long as we all have a nice last game. But I do agree with what Kriss said earlier, which is their sigh of relief has come now. Our sigh of relief was probably a month or so ago, 2 months ago, whatever it was. And since then, actually, we were pretty good against Man U. We weren't bad against Leicester, and we were good against Tottenham. So we've already got over the fact that our season's ended, and now we're just sort of playing football. Whereas they're going to be an exhalation of breath. We're going to be maybe trying to prove things for next season. So I don't think it matters too much who you play in goal because they've only got Danny Ings up front.
Oh,
Oh no!
Clip that. Now clip what I just said there. Yeah, lovely.
See if he scores on Saturday, you two are in trouble. Gonzo, are you confident?
Yeah, I am actually. For the reasons that I just said, mate.
What about yourself, Kriss? Are you confident heading into this one?
I am. I think it's part. In fact, all you need to do is just watch this. Just watch this. You two guys, cheeky chappies, having a laugh, bugging in a goalkeeper of sentimental values, prodding old Danny Ings. Go and have a go if you think you're good enough. It's going to be party central. I think we're going to have a great time. I think we know it's our last home game. We'll come up to play. And hopefully, Pellegrini will go, listen to the fans out there. Listen to those guys singing. You haven't really delivered this year. You didn't make it in any of the Cups. You've beat Spurs away. Bring that form back home now. Let the guys go away cheering the great old "We're forever blowing bubbles" and let's have some fun. So I think it's going to be a party atmosphere. I think we're going to win a big 2-0. I think it's going to be a great weekend.
From the Spurs go 1-0 down to the Saints go marching, and I think we'll be all right as well. I think the one thing for Saturday is Pellegrini's going to have some bench because he's on that bench. He's potentially going to have Zabaleta. You can pick from Zabaleta, Ogbonna, Creswell, Obiang, Nasri, Lanzini, Hernandez, Perez, Diangana. Nathan Holland's just signed a new deal, so he'd be buzzing as well. What a bench he's going to have. So if we do go 1-0 down, he's got plenty of options on there to change it if he wishes to. I'm optimistic. I'm at the point now where the result doesn't really matter in a way. But I tell you who does matter for someone, Marko Navic. He's starting to sort of make fans turn a little bit back in his favour. Fans were really against him. In the last couple of weeks, he's put in a decent shift. He got his assist against Spurs. I think this is a big game. If he turns up and doesn't do anything, fans are going to say, right, that's it. You're clearly just go. But if he turns up and grafts a bit and maybe gets a goal on Saturday, I think he'll sway people's opinion a lot more. And people say, actually, you know what? I'd probably keep him this summer. I think he's got people back on the fence, and he's got 90 minutes to sort of push them off it or drag him back onto his side. So I think Marco's got a little bit to do on Saturday, and it'll be interesting. And we obviously know Chris's score prediction, but before I get from Gonzo, just from all of us at Hammers Chat, we'd like to wish Matt, Gilly, and all the rest of the team at West Ham Women best of luck in their FA Cup final on Saturday at 5:30 kickoff. We'll have a video on the channel probably on Monday. It will be a vlog from that day, regardless of the score, etc. So do come back and tune in and check that out. Chris has gone for 2-0. Gonzo, would you care to give me your score prediction?
Yeah, I think 3-1. I do think they can score. Charlie Austin, obviously. And actually, Nathan Redmond. What am I talking about? Screamer from Nathan Redmond as he waves goodbye to the Southampton fans for the last time as he gets sold to Liverpool like everybody else. But I do think we'll win. And I think I think Antonio is going to continue his form. I think he's absolutely frightening. He's devastated. He's back to his best form. He's fast. He's strong as an ox. I just feel I feel Mark Noble as well, who was excellent against Tottenham. He's now got Jack Wilshere breathing down his neck, so to speak. So
and Carlos Sanchez.
Yeah. The thing is, Carlos Sanchez, he can walk past me in the street and I wouldn't know him. Honestly, he could be good, bad, or indifferent. We don't know.
You better watch, because you're going to get him and Felipe Anderson. You might get them confused on Saturday if they're both on the same time.
No. Anderson's a glider, mate. He's a glider. I think he's a stopper. He's a dirty player, isn't he? Did you see Colombia in the World Cup against England? What the filthiest team I've ever seen in my life. Play acting and fouling and all the rest of it. No. Felipe Anderson's a beautiful gliding Brazilian. Nothing like that thuggish Colombian play. 3-1, mate. 3-1.
2-1 for me. Chris, can I just say thank you very much for coming on? It's always a pleasure.
Gio, I wanted to say about Arnautovic. I really hope we keep him, and I really hope to see. I think he's an asset. I think if we sold him, we would actually regret it. He went downhill, of course, after what happened with the China deal. I hope we keep him. I think he'll be an asset for us next year.
Interesting. Well, Chris, again, thank you very much. Always a pleasure having you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Take care, mate.
Gonzo, thank you as always, and I'll also see you on Saturday for some antics.
Well, you'll see me in a minute. We're going to record a Premier League preview, aren't we?
We are. If you'd like to hear mine and Gonzo's opinions on the other 9 Premier League games this weekend, pop over to the forum channel. It's on your screen right now if it's done. And the link to the forum channel is in the description below. So come along to that. You can have a little listen. But that from Chris, from Gonzo, and myself, thank you very much for joining us. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. And we'll see you on Saturday for some sort of review of the match. Take care.